Hello everyone, this is Earth Archives. In today's era where anyone who wants to play a game can just pick up a mobile phone and start, many people don't know that it is video games that inspire and influence them. Today, let's talk about 5 early and influential games. Before the show starts, please subscribe, share, and turn on the little bell. This will help us grow faster. Without further ado, the show begins. A journey that's even more retro than your grandpa's vinyl collection. Believe it or not, this saga doesn't start with Xboxes or PlayStations. Nope, it kicks off in the era of the Truman administration. Imagine that. We're throwing it way back to a time when black and white TVs were the height of technology, and most folks thought gaming meant a heated round of Monopoly. Enter stage left, the nerdy heroes of our tale, a bunch of computer wizards who decided it'd be a hoot to make machines play games. And voila, Bertie the Brain was born, a tic-tac-toe whiz kid trapped in the towering body of a 13-foot-tall computer. Showcased at a Canadian expo in 1950, this behemoth was way ahead of its time. I mean, people were barely wrapping their heads around TV remotes, let alone dueling wits with a colossal machine. Fast forward to the swinging 60s, where the galaxy's fate could rest in the hands of players duking it out in Space War, the first computer video game that more than one person could play. This gem ran on the PDP-1, a computer that wasn't exactly living room friendly, with a price tag of $120,000. So, unless you were a university with deep pockets, you probably weren't getting in on the action. Then came the groovy 70s, which gave birth to the golden era of the video game arcade. Suddenly, everyone wanted in on these coin-operated wonders, which didn't just offer a fresh way to play but became the go-to spot for teens. I mean, who needed disco balls when you had the flashing lights of an arcade? But the quest for gaming glory didn't stop there. It was only a matter of time before video games invaded our living rooms. And they did, paving the way for an industry now worth more than the GDP of some small countries. We owe a lot to the OGs of gaming, Pong, Pac-Man, and their pixelated pals, which might seem quaint now but were the trailblazers of their time. So, here's to the early and influential games that started it all. They're not just blasts from the past, they're the foundation stones of the digital playgrounds we know and love today. Cheers to that, game on. Table tennis, 1972. Alright, hold on to your joysticks. We're time traveling back to where it all began, the dawn of home video gaming, with none other than the Magnavox Odyssey. Picture this, it's 1972, bell bottoms are in, and folks are just getting their minds blown by the magic of playing video games in the comfort of their living rooms. The brains behind this revolution, a genius named Ralph H. Baer, often hailed as the godfather of video gaming. Way back in '66, Ralph and his crew of engineering wizards started concocting this magic box, running through design after design like mad scientists. And voila, the Odyssey was born. Not exactly a computer, but this nifty gadget had the wizardry to turn your regular old TV into a gaming wonderland. Now, don't go expecting PlayStation graphics here. We're talking about the charm of monochrome wonders, lines, dots, and squares that could keep you entertained for hours. Sure, it came with a price tag that'd make you think twice, $99, which was a pretty penny back then, and the graphics were more retro chic than retro cool. But here's where it gets interesting. Magnavox decided to throw in a bunch of physical goodies like dice, playing cards, and poker chips. Why? To make it feel like the board games everybody knew and loved. They were blending the old with the new, a smooth move to ease folks into this brave new world of gaming. Sales-wise, the Odyssey was more of a quiet hero. It didn't exactly fly off the shelves, but it found its way into 350,000 homes. And wouldn't you know it, Magnavox later laughed all the way to the bank, raking in over $100 million not from the console sales, but through copyright lawsuits. Turns out, being a pioneer pays off, especially when everyone else wants a piece of the action. Oh, and let's not forget about table tennis, the Odyssey's unsung hero. This game was simplicity at its finest. Each player got a paddle, and we're using that term loosely here, aiming to whiz the ball past their rival. No fancy electronics to keep score, you had to track points the old-fashioned way, with your brain and maybe a piece of paper. So, hats off to the Magnavox Odyssey, the little console that started it all. It may not have been the star of the show in its day, but without Ralph H. Baer's brainchild, who knows where gaming would be today. Home Pong, 1975. Get this, before Fortnite, dances and Call of Duty marathons took over, there was Pong. Yes, you heard it right, Pong, that black and white pixel ballet that turned into the Godzilla of the gaming world. It wasn't the very first home video game, but let's just say it kicked the door down for the Atari empire and basically the whole gaming industry to barge in. So, here's the scoop on how this all went down. Nolan Bushnell, Atari's main man, and his buddy Ted Dabney cooked up Pong in '72, an arcade sensation that was pretty much table tennis on gaming steroids. It had it all: sound effects that made you feel like you were at Wimbledon, a scoreboard that didn't require a pencil and paper, and even spin mechanics to make things spicy. Of course, Magnavox, feeling a bit bruised about the whole thing being a bit too close to their own creation, decided to knock on Atari's door with a lawsuit. The outcome? Atari played ball and forked over some cash for an exclusive licensing fee. Then came the masterstroke, turning Pong into a home console game. Initially, this gem was tucked away in Sears, tagged as a limited edition, wearing the Sears brand like a fancy suit. And guess what? It flew off the shelves during the holiday season of '75. We're talking about a blockbuster hit that made Atari the name on everyone's lips and set the stage for their very own branded Pong to hit the scene. But the story doesn't end there. Enter the Atari 2600, the console that would become the Michael Jordan of gaming machines in its era. Launched in '77, this bad boy sold around 30 million units until it took a bow in '92. And Bushnell? Well, selling Atari for a cool $28 million to Warner Communications was just his opening act. He went on to play the gaming industry like a fiddle, founding over 20 companies, including every kid's dreamland, Chuck E. Cheese. So, next time you're about to snipe someone from across the map or build a fortress in seconds, pour one out for Pong. It's the granddaddy of gaming, the hit that lit the fire, and the reason you can argue about the best consoles and games today. Spitfire, 1977. Ladies and gents, gather round for the tale of the unsung hero of the gaming world, the Channel F before the Atari 2600 became the apple of every gamer's eye, and long before the Intellivision and ColecoVision made their marks, there was a little engine that could in the gaming world, and it went by the name Channel F. Yeah, you heard that right, the F as in fun, and boy, did it try to bring it. This funky piece of tech bravado was hitting the shelves with a price tag of $169, which, if you adjust for the inflation parade, rockets up to about $800 in today's dollars. What made Channel F the talk of the tech town was not just its joystick or its nifty hold button, but it was the first home console to rock a microprocessor and to introduce the world to game-loaded ROM cartridges. That's right, instead of cramming all the games into the console like a Thanksgiving turkey, it came with the genius option to switch games via cartridges. And yes, it did grace the buyers with two built-in games, hockey and tennis, for those who cherished simplicity. The mastermind behind this game-changing innovation? None other than Jerry Lawson, a legendary figure and pioneering African-American computer engineer who staked his claim in Silicon Valley as the father of the video game cartridge. Kudos where kudos are due. Channel F didn't just dip its toes in the water. It came ready with a collection of 26 ROM cartridges, affectionately known as video carts, up for grabs at about $20 a pop. Among the collection, Spitfire soared into gamers' hearts. An aerial combat spectacle that pitted pixelated planes against each other in a fight for the skies, rivaling the legendary exploits of the Red Baron and Blue Max. But here's the kicker: feeling lonely and your gaming buddies are no-show? No worries, because, for the first time in home console history, players could throw down against the CPU. A groundbreaking moment that said, who needs friends when you've got me? Sadly, like a shooting star, Channel F's moment in the limelight was brief. Overshadowed by the giants that followed, it's now a name largely lost to the sands of time. Yet, for those who know, Channel F stands as a testament to innovation, a pioneering force that paved the way for the future of gaming. Here's to you, Channel F, the unsung trailblazer of fun. Space Invaders, 1980. Alright, here's a story about how Atari stepped into the ring, pumped up on Warner Communications' whopping $100 million love injection, ready to throw down with Channel F. Enter the ring, the Atari 2600, aka the Atari Video Computer System or VCS for those in the know. This was Atari's heavyweight contender in the ROM cartridge, CPU-powered console world. You wanted variety in your gaming life? Pop in a new cartridge, and voila, a new adventure awaited. But let's cut to the chase. Every console has its champion, its poster child that steals the spotlight. For the Atari 2600, that was none other than Space Invaders. This wasn't just any game. This was the Muhammad Ali of video games at the time. Originally hailing from Japan and designed to have you blasting aliens descending from the cosmos, Space Invaders wasn't just a game, it was a phenomenon. When it made its grand entrance to the US shores in 1980, marking the first time an arcade sensation was licensed for home play, it was a game changer, literally. Space Invaders didn't just raise the bar, it launched it into space. It brought with it graphics that made your eyeballs dance, sounds that were music to your nerdy soul, and gameplay that hooked you faster than a caffeine addiction. It was the adrenaline shot the gaming industry sorely needed, pulling it out of the slump caused by a sea of bland, Pong, copycats that were about as exciting as watching paint dry. And boy, did it pay off. The release of Space Invaders didn't just put the Atari 2600 on the map, it turned it into gaming legend, quadrupling its sales and pushing over 2 million Space Invaders cartridges out the door in its debut year alone. So, here's to Space Invaders, the alien-slaying, industry-saving, joystick-wrecking titan that showed us all how it's done. Pac-Man, 1982. Imagine, if you will, a world before scrolling through your feed was the go-to pastime, a world where a little yellow dude named Pac-Man reigned supreme. Yes, we're diving into the pixelated realm of 1982, when this munching marvel made the leap from Japanese arcade phenomenon to a must-have Atari 2600 cartridge, scoffing down over 1 million sales like it was just another cherry on the level. Players were handed the keys to the kingdom of a maze that felt like the love child of a disco and a geometry class, tasked with guiding our round hero through a dot-infested labyrinth. The goal? Chow down on all the dots while playing an intense game of cat and mouse with a quartet of ghosts, each sporting a snazzy color of the rainbow gone rogue. Now, not everyone was ready to join the Pac-Man parade at first. Critics were quick to throw shade, dishing out zingers about the game's visuals and sound that made watching paint dry seem like an IMAX experience. Was the consumer love affair with Atari showing cracks? Sure, but like any true underdog story, Pac-Man wasn't down for the count. Defying the naysayers, Pac-Man did what Pac-Dude does best, gobbled his way to glory. Not only did it become the best-selling Atari 2600 video game of all time, but it also bolted into the cultural zeitgeist like a lightning bolt in neon spandex. This wasn't just a game, it was a lifestyle, spawning an avalanche of merchandise. Pajamas, plush toys, school supplies, breakfast cereal, you name it, there was a Pac-Man version of it. Heck, it even vaulted its way onto the music charts with a top 10 pop song, Pac-Man Fever, that had kids and adults alike bopping their heads and dreaming of dots. So here's to Pac-Man, the little yellow hero who showed us all that even when the critics aren't on your side, you can still have the last laugh, all the way to the cultural icon bank.